哦，开始了，可以了。Okay, we are live now. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Polkadot broadcast. It's our monthly roundtable. It's November and it's the end of 2025. Time flies, and for this episode, we are the HIC exclusive episode, and we invited the two of their portfolios because it's really exciting. And usually when they see Polkadot, they will say, "Oh, there's no new project in Polkadot," and it's so exciting to see that there are two excellent projects being announced. So the community is eager to know more. So very happy to have all of you here today. And today we are having Max and Mario from HIC, and Neil from N3MUS, and Liu from Joinn Finance. And welcome you guys. And I think for our conversation, we will touch on the opportunity of investing in Polkadot ecosystem and the RWA and the gaming. So let's kick things off. And firstly, I would invite Mario or Max to share your insights on because it's really hard to get new project in Polkadot ecosystem, but now you have two excellent ones. So how do you working on break this cycle, and how did you first discover this project, and what convinced you to invest in them?
Sure. Yeah. No, thank you, Kristen. Maybe I'll kick it off and then hand over directly to Mario to add a few more details, how exactly we identified those projects and why we're so bullish about it. But look, let me first echo what you said. I mean, Polkadot is going through a rough patch at the moment, right? Obviously, token price has been down. That's not great for anybody. Everyone wants to see the token price go up, but that doesn't mean that we stop building. That doesn't mean we stop investing. Quite the opposite. Oftentimes, you have like some of the greatest opportunities in these more bearish cycles. I mean, what I would say in terms of like macro investing in the Polkadot ecosystem is that, of course, there is at the moment like a fundamental shift in terms of parity taking a more central role in the development of the Polkadot ecosystem. So we've seen that quite vividly, how the parity senior leadership wants to take more control for building out, for example, the Polkadot app, the proof of personhood tools, and so on and so forth. But we still believe that third developers, such as the ones that we have here today with us, it is obviously like a very important situation to have third-party developers in the ecosystem and continuing to build on Polkadot, especially now with Polkadot Hub going live. I think there is like a great opportunity as well. And obviously, like, we are a decentralized ecosystem. And so there are many different players developing and investing. And, I don't think that, at the end of it, it will only be parity that kind of runs all the applications in the ecosystem. Know that there are lots of interesting players with interesting niches that continue to flourish on the Polkadot ecosystem. So that's kind of more my mid to long term vision here. Now we can go a little bit more in detail into both of them, right? But maybe for that I'll kind of hand it over to Mario, who can say a few words. But generally, these two verticals, right? The gaming and the player acquisition vertical and the RWA vertical, especially here in LATAM, they are obviously very exciting verticals for us. And that's why we have decided to invest there. But maybe Mario, you want to say a few more details?
Yeah, good morning also from my side, from Argentina, where we're just wrapping up DEFCON and Sub-Zero. And Leo was here actually also. We just saw each other last week. I would just like to add that especially for the Polkadot ecosystem, it has been declared dead, so to speak, many, many times before. But we have a saying in German where those declared dead live longer. And actually, if you look below the hood, we had a lot of successful projects. We always like to emphasize that we had a lot of successful projects like Peak Network, for example, that came out of the ecosystem. We were one of the earliest investors there, and they reached a 3 billion valuation last December. So a unicorn status. We got BitTensor basically coming out of the ecosystem, and many others. So we just always like to highlight that there are some very successful cases, historically on the parachain side, but now, as Max mentioned, as we move to Hub, we focus also more on the applications. Basically, they can build directly on Hub, and it was really exciting to bring both N3MUS and Joinn to the ecosystem. So Leo and I, we met early this year in Zurich, and I was immediately excited about what Joinn is building. I leave it to Leo to mention a bit more about what Joinn is aiming to do, but we think it could really have an impact on millions of people here in the LATAM region. Lower cost of not just transactions like for payments, but also to get access, and of course on the self-custodial solution. So basically, this is a key to the development. And on the N3MUS side, what really excited us there is how N3MUS is able to attract really amazing studios to basically publish the games, and we think this is for the tournaments. We think this is really critical. We've seen this has really been a driver for the gaming vertical in the Web3 space, and it's definitely something that has been missing on the there with the FIFA game that just came out earlier this year and already has more than 1 million downloads, and the Budgie Penguin game that has more than 1 million downloads. So we see a lot of synergy, obviously with Mythical, but also with other studios, and we think this really is filling an amazing gap for the ecosystem and can really also help drive growth.
Thank you, Mario, for sharing your stand on from this point of view. And now I want to hear the insights from the founders' point of view. Firstly, is RWA. RWA is really a buzzword, and everyone is talking like in the beginning of November, and it's a FinTech week, and there's a lot of options here. So it's really a big potential market. So I really wonder what made you choose RWA sectors? What potential did you see, and how big do you think this market potentially will be?
Yep. Hi, Kristen. Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you guys for the intro. So yeah, the potential. Firstly, I don't like to talk about RWAs. RWAs is very broad, or is try to talk about tokenized financial assets, which is what we actually offer. So it's financial assets on chain, which offer actually a good solution because it makes them borderless. And the potential is huge because that putting them on chain actually makes them accessible, and that is actually the whole. It opens up the whole market. So to your question, yeah, the RWAs, the tokenized financial assets on chain opens up a whole new market for access in emerging markets, and it makes them billions of dollars that actually are not in the financial market yet.
And what the blockchain technology solve the problem of the reward assets?
Yeah, well, Yeah, as I was saying, the main solution here is that having them on chain, having those tokenized financial assets on chain, actually makes them borderless. So in our case, for instance, we're going to be regulated in one single jurisdiction, but because they're tokenized and they are on chain, what makes them easy to access is that if anyone in, say, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil wants to access them, they just have to convert their local currency pesos to USDC or USDT and transfer them to our platform. We're going to enable that within the platform, very transparent with local partners. So it is a global platform from one single hub. That is the main solution. That is actually I think the most important solution that blockchain offers to tokenize financial assets.
Yeah, and more people have more access to the real world assets.
Yeah, exactly. More access, more access, obviously, all across the world, and more transparency because you know where your money sits 24/7, and making them on chain actually enables us to offer 24/7 liquidity on assets that usually trade from 9 to 5. So if you have a liquidity pool on top of it, you can actually make them very liquid. So at 3 a.m., if you want to get out of a position because I don't know, you heard something, you had a bad dream or whatever, you just go on the app, liquidate it, get your USDT out, and you can continue sleeping.
Yeah, cool. Okay, now let's move on to gaming. And when I scanning open the new the N3MUS website, I can see there's a lot of events going on, the activities going on. It's how do you manage it to have such a vibrant ecosystem? Are there any data points you can share? I think they're going to be very excellent numbers you want to share. Also, where all these incentives come from usually?
You're muted.
Thanks a
Neil,
lot,
you're
Leo.
muted.
That's really helpful. So, Kirsten, thank you for the introduction. What we're building at N3MUS is an AI-driven user acquisition and retention platform. So basically, how you can see us from a B2B perspective, we acquire gamers and we distribute them towards games, studios, and also other platforms, depending on who needs the gamers, basically, or who needs the users. And the whole benefit that we have, normally, if you look at the classic gaming industry, especially in Web 2, they do a shit ton of marketing. They spend millions of dollars on marketing. They get the users in, and their day 7 retention rate are 3 to 5%. So basically, 95% of the marketing money is thrown away. And that's the whole. So yeah, the whole thing that we wanted to solve is the 95% of the people that don't play the game anymore after 7 days. You need to go to classic marketing channels again to get those users back in. And basically what we've developed is that we retain those users. We make sure they don't leave, they only leave the game, and we can distribute them again to another game. And coming back to your question on numbers, and that's the whole flywheel that we have. We of course we lose some of the gamers, but not the majority of them. So once we get a new game on our platform, we also onboard their community, and their community sees, just like you, that there are more events. So what's happening is basically a whole flywheel of users flowing in, flowing to games, inviting other people to join as well. They see that there's a tournament going on, they join our platform. So that's the whole flywheel that we're in. And we launched our platform last year in December. I think it was 5 December when we had our first tournament. And we've been growing over 80% month to month since then. And our growth isn't stopping, it's even increasing. So it's really cool to see that we're getting more studios in and more gamers in. And looking at the numbers, in October, we were responsible for over 2.7 million gameplays. In November, we don't have the final numbers yet because we're still in November, obviously. But it will cross 3.5 million gameplays that we're responsible for. And how I see it, we're talking to a lot of Web 2 studios as well, not directly related to Polkadot, but what we're hoping to do is get those studios onto our platform, and don't let the games directly integrate Polkadot, because we will do that for them. So the whole tournament logic, the whole game scoring logic, etc., will be live on Polkadot without the studio doing anything, basically. So we basically transition a Web2 game to partially Web3, and we're leveraging the technology that Polkadot basically offers to implement our systems. And I think one of the most important things is that how we're helping studios is with an anti-cheat solution, because it's Web3. People like to cheat a lot, and especially when it comes to money, people are very eager to do something extra to get a little bit more money in. So we've also developed an anti-cheat solution, which basically fully integrates Polkadot. So we're checking on-chain transactions, we're checking fingerprints, and a whole sort of data points basically that we're getting from studios, and it's also going to be fully live on Polkadot. So those are really interesting things. And we're a B2B on the gaming studio side, and we're also B2C because we're bringing fun to gamers. We're bringing a lot of great games towards them. And especially on the B2C side, we're expecting a lot more volume in the coming months when we start onboarding more Web2 studios.
Well, that's cool. So what exactly the tools or actions you took to make the Web2 users more feel easily to play the game? What was it?
Yeah, that's really tough. So let's say a new game comes towards us. The first thing that we do is we have a group of game ambassadors. And we ask them to test the game. The game ambassadors are not specifically blockchain users, but they're simply gamers or people who have a little bit of blockchain knowledge. And what comes out of it is basically a report of the game itself, like how's the onboarding process, is the game clear, etc. So 99% of the times, Web3 games use MetaMask or any other wallet solution, basically. And we always tell games, if you want to onboard a massive number of people, then you need to make sure that you don't have any blockchain aspects bothering the gamers. So that's one thing that comes out tremendously often, is that they need to hide blockchain aspects more in order to get more gamers in, because Web2 gamers, they hate blockchain because they see it as a scam, etc. So what we try to do, and you see that on our platform as well, we hide the elements, but we still leverage all the technology behind it. And I think that's what blockchain is meant to be for. Use the technology, leverage the technology, make your products better, and then we can start onboarding more and more gamers. And we're going live with the CS2 tournaments quite soon. So that's really a classic Web2 game, Web2 shooter game. And I'm quite curious to see how many Web2 gamers we will actually onboard through that campaign to our platform. So I will definitely keep you guys posted on that, how that will go.
Yeah, we will definitely keep an eye on it. Okay, now back to Mario and Max, and you guys are still in Argentina, and you just attended the Sub-Zero, and so could you share, really the Joinn and N3MUS are really a very good project. So do you see some new potentials, or can you share some of your insights or takeaways you have on the Sub-Zero? You are Mario.
Absolutely. I'll kick it off again and then hand over to Mario. So as you said correctly, we're still in Argentina, where we just wrapped up like a very, very exciting couple of days and weeks almost at Sub-Zero in Buenos Aires, and then Dev Connect also in Buenos Aires. So first of all, I mean, for me personally, it was the first time in Argentina. It's obviously quite an interesting country as well. Very high degree of crypto adoption here. I guess one thing is that the country has really learned what sound money means, having gone through like multiple periods of hyperinflation, and so as a result of that, people are just generally quite aware of crypto, especially Bitcoin is like very, very highly recognized and regarded here. There's like a very, very high degree of literacy. Putting DEFCON and Sub-Zero here was actually quite a smart strategic move. Only disadvantage was that from Hong Kong, it was a very long flight to get here, almost 24 hours. But I think it was really worthwhile. because, well, what I can say is Sub-Zero itself, right? The Polkadot flagship event was, really good in my opinion. We had like, some of the usual suspects from the Polkadot ecosystem, who we also know from other conferences around the world. But then there was also like a lot of like local talent, local developers there that came. Lots of like people from other ecosystems, lots of students also from local universities came. So I think that was a really positive and really welcome new lens for us in terms of looking and screening for potential new developers and specifically like projects from the region that are building here. There were a lot of other exciting events as well. I mean, Gavin Wood came to Buenos Aires as well. He gave a really interesting talk at the University of Buenos Aires that we attended, that we thought was really very thoughtful about Web3 and AI. Not in the way that many other people talk about Web3 and AI, but like a very thoughtful and very differentiated type of talk. I think it's probably recorded somewhere online. Can recommend to check it out. And then there were other like events here in Argentina as well. So for example, just a couple of days ago, the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, the PBA, with which we're quite close and we like to work with them. They also organized like an event in Mendoza, in a different province of Argentina. So we also went there. Was also in cooperation with like a local university, and it's really exciting to see that there are a lot of trying to solve some let's call it like sort of more localized problems, right? Like with a strong local angle. And just to give you one example, right? Day before yesterday, we met one project. They're working on like increasing transparency in the construction industry in Argentina by putting tender contracts on chain, because according to their telling, this is like a pretty big issue in the country. I'm sure in other countries as well, but it's like a local issue where you really need the local expertise. But then by combining it with these very powerful like Web3 tools, right? Less trust and more truth, and building exciting new applications there, where there's also like a rather easy to understand like value creation, right? It's not like it's not like some sort of super speculative token, but it's like solving a real world problem. So to what the other two projects that we have here on this call today do, right? Like solving some real world problem. I mean, that's kind of how we like to think in our investment thesis. And you see that there are a lot of these guys here in Argentina. It's, as I said, it's a very Web3 savvy country, and that's why it's exciting to be here. Yeah, maybe Mario.
I think we need to highlight here also that Polkadot has historically had a strong community in Latin. So we've some really great ambassadors and projects here in the past that have been doing a lot of work. So really shout out to the whole community, from the Mexican collective to the Brazilian to Argentina. So really strong community here. The project that Max mentioned, like Clara, they also won the hackathon at Sub-Zero. So already demonstrating that they have the technical capability also to implement their vision. And also a big shout out to the BBA, the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, for organizing a lot of great events here. They have great relationships here. They brought Gavin around to different locations, as from Buenos Aires to the north, like in Santiago del Estero. There was an event with the governors of the 8 provinces also being involved in that meeting there. So really, you see a lot of things moving here in the region. The vision is to bring whole nations on chain, to improve transparency, efficiency, just like what Mandala is doing in Indonesia. that can be done also by local companies here, maybe also with the help of Mandala, to implement from having a safe ID, but you have the privacy and the keys yourself, which is key, right? So you don't have a digital ID like what's being proposed in UK, then you get like the parking fines directly deducted from your account or whatever. But actually an ID that allows you to access government services, but maintaining the privacy. I think that's also key. It's also what Gavin has been talking a lot about, proof of personhood. How you can prove that you are a person, that you are yourself, without revealing too much of your identity. I think that's really key. So really great to see the momentum here. We've seen some really great projects, and we think in this region also has great potential for Polkadot.
Yeah, great to hear. And I think what's the participants look like in the event? What their age? What kind of person they are? They're from Polkadot ecosystem, or they're fresh people from Web3?
So I think Web0, they published some. The organizers of Sub0, they published some numbers. I think it was 90% they said of the participant came not from the ecosystem. So a lot of new attendees. So that would be obviously very great to have a lot of new attendees there. And it was quite diverse. So there was, like as Max said, a lot of students. The BBA brought a lot of people over. Web0, but they invited a lot of the local students. But then we also had some very senior government members and from academia showing up. So it was quite interesting to see some people probably in their late teens, like 18, 19, like college students. But on the other hand, you see maybe 70-year-old government official or a university professor there. So you really had a big bandwidth of attendees.
Okay, cool. It's good to see that there are new airs flowing into the Polkadot ecosystem. Great.
Definitely.
Okay, now let's move to Leo. And you've mentioned that RWA is a very big word, but the very valuable assets are actually very limited. So for Joinn, what types of assets do you prefer to support? Can you give us some scenarios that the Joinn Finance have already have some depths and they can use. So
yeah, sure. Thank you for the question. Yeah, very important question. Being a hub for tokenized financial assets, so we're aggregating from different parts of the whole crypto ecosystem assets. We came to the conclusion that there are many trading platforms and there are many incentives out there for people to trade and just to speculate with their money. So what we're trying to build is a curated platform. Well, what we built actually is a curated platform that has a certain number of assets, and those assets have performed well during the past 10, 20, and 30 years. So these assets need to have been around for a while and need to have produced yield for institutional investors. What we're bringing is those type of assets to the retail market. And what assets are those? So we're playing around with some funds, some ETFs, some T-bills. I'm here in Sao Paulo, so we're talking about probably tokenizing sovereign debt here in Brazil. Sovereign debt here in Brazil yields about 15%. So that is one of the type of assets we want to put in on the platform. In general, it's going to be really sound and safe assets where people can actually invest and compound. We don't want to incentivize people coming in and out of positions. We want to incentivize people just staying in there and saving and planning the future in 5 to 10 years and seeing how the money grows. So yeah, and to sum it up, mostly ETFs, really good ETF like the QQQ, like the VTI from Vanguard. We have already some iShares, ETF iShares from BlackRock, and yeah, that's like that. Many similar to those.
Yeah, say the asset have to be safe and have to make sustainable profit.
Exactly.
And
yeah, we want to just to add to what you're saying. We want to stop the gambling, and I understand people like the adrenaline, the excitement of going on a trading platform or on exchange and just betting on anything and just seeing how it goes up, down, or sideways, and just that is very. I do it myself. That's very interesting. I like it, but you need at the end of the day something that helps you grow your wealth in a steady way, like the high net worth individuals, institutions do, and the only way you can do it is by investing and compounding in the long term.
Yes, and different people have their own preference, and so I also see that you on your website on Twitter that there's a demonstration of there's a MasterCard that can be used to
Absolutely
in your
yeah, that we only concentrate on the power of the blockchain and the tokenized financial assets, but we also have a MasterCard. We have a partnership with MasterCard, and we give the easiness of use of the user's funds via MasterCard. So as I mentioned before, we'll have on and off ramps. We're working on integrating. We have some already integrated locally from Colombia, from Brazil, from Argentina. They're already in place in the platform, as well as the MasterCard, because if you need your funds at any point and there's no other way to pay but with the card, we'll make sure you can use your funds, and they're there. It's a tokenized MasterCard with the balance on chain. So the balance is on chain, and you can just use it 24/7.
Okay, cool. So how many countries or regions did this MasterCard can support?
You mean as a use or as a onboard?
The use.
The use is like anywhere they take MasterCard. Onboarding initially is going to be in 5 countries. So users can come from Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, and Peru.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. And you are also participating in the DeFi Builder program. So when they are planned to deploy on the Polkadot Hub, and the Polkadot Hub can provide, how the Polkadot Hub can provide liquidity for you.
Right. So that's an amazing question. So one of the things we're doing is, because everything we're doing is EVM compatible, we're bringing our contracts onto the Asset Hub, and then our contracts are pretty much a vault that holds the tokenized assets with some liquidity, as I mentioned before. So it's 24/7 liquid. Broker, which is just a strategy that balances that vault from the issuer that provides the tokenized assets. Those are we're in talk with, as well as the Polkadot ecosystem, to bring on tokenized assets on Polkadot, because once there are tokenized and there's liquidity, we can bring them on chain on Polkadot. So that should happen in Q1 next year, once the whole EVM compatibility is ready and sorted. Testnet, I hear, is almost there, and I think next week we should be able to get our hands on it. So once we do that, the next steps is bringing liquidity onto Polkadot, and as I mentioned before, we are an aggregator. We're just going to take that liquidity and put it on the platform.
Okay, cool. Very looking forward to it.
And what we're going to try is to get our preferred assets. That's the goal. So the assets we want the most, that's the ones we want to get Polkadot to issue.
Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, let's move on to Neil. And before our broadcast, I really did some research on gaming, and I just typed the gaming on the news platforms to see a lot of articles and research. But there's a crude truth that in 2025 there are many over. I cannot it's 18 or around 20 very big games are being shut down, and so it might be the situation of the gaming industry. I'm not sure. And so how do you view the opportunities and the turning point for blockchain gaming?
Well, I think looking at the whole gaming market itself, the gaming market has seen better days. Everyone knows that it's a general thing that's currently going out. But the whole gaming market is still growing tremendously hard. So if you look at especially the younger age, I don't know a single kid who doesn't play Roblox, for example. So those are all prospects of gamers that are upcoming, basically. What we see in the overall gaming market is that it's still growing. Revenues are still going up, even faster than last year. But what I believe is happening is a real flush of studios. So what you had previously back in 2021 is that there were several large studios, dozens of them, who got hundreds of millions of funding, took 4 or 5 years building a game, launching a game, and it's a huge flop. So we saw that happening more and more, and especially on the larger studio side. So what I believe that is happening is that investors, but also gamers, aren't looking at the very large studios anymore. They're looking at the little bit smaller games, I don't want to say indie, but AA games that are being developed constantly over time, and where the community actually has a vote in the game, saying, "Oh, you should do this." Then if you see developers picking up the suggestions that you give, that really ties you to the game, because you're actually part of the game because you thought of something. And what you saw happening with AAA studios, they were simply super arrogant. They knew everything, and that's relating to a whole bunch of shutdowns, failed launches, etc. There was one game I won't name them, but they raised almost 300 million. It took them 5 years to complete. They spent over 2 million in marketing on their launch, and I think they got like 10,000 downloads. So it was like a huge flop, and they pulled the plug directly because the reviews were tremendously bad as well on the game itself. So what I see happening is a whole new influx of gamers towards smaller studios, and that includes blockchain games. So if you look at blockchain games itself, if you shout through the roof, "We're a blockchain game," then it's really hard to acquire gamers. I think I already mentioned that. But if you leverage the technology and use the components which help you with development, literally, because you don't have to develop whole backends, because the blockchain is a backend for you, and use the financial aspects as well of blockchain, then you're set to go. And we see more and more studios leveraging the technology, and there are games on Steam where users don't know that they're using blockchain. So we're entering a whole new era of leveraging blockchain, and more studios are doing it. Even AAA studios are doing it.
Actually, I want to throw something in here. Just yesterday, I watched an interview with Gavin on the main Polkadot account, where he talks about his early days as a computer programmer and how he was programming his own games. Right, so check out this podcast, this video with Gavin. It's really good. It's like an hour long, and he talks about like game design and how he, as a 13, 14-year-old, like started building his own computer games back then, right? And then also how many aspects of game design are actually quite relatable to blockchain design as well, right? If you think of blockchain as a game theoretically sound engine, so it's actually quite an interesting overlap here. So if you have a chance, check out this video.
I will definitely do that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So there are more opportunities in gaming, in fact, and the gaming, especially the small gaming, is actually growing. For example, I think Mythers launched two very big game, Punji and the Rival, and I think the download is huge. So very bullish on gaming. So for the last, let's talk about the opportunities. And I think at the end of our conversation, we should give some confidence to our audience. Considering the market, the recent market, and I think it's worth. I would invite each guest to share why are you still bullish about Polkadot, and where do you see the biggest opportunities right now? And it can be investment opportunities, can be new opportunities in gaming or RWA. So it's a free topic. So who want to jump in first?
I'll take it first again, and then head off. However, but look, I think Polkadot continues to be like an extremely undervalued ecosystem. If you contrast like the current market cap, especially like after the last couple of weeks of downwards trend, and then contrast that to the fundamentally strong tech stack that we undoubtedly have, it's a clear buying opportunity. There are so many things that are being developed under the hood, and I think as an investor, you always have to be a bit of a contrarian, and as such, I think this continues to be like a great opportunity. But what does that mean more concretely, right? I think this new, leadership change at Parity is incredibly bullish, right? Gavin really wants to deliver something here. He's not done yet, right? He's not leaning back and, taking a rest. Quite the opposite. Like, he just completed the jam. Gray paper, and now he's back to products, right? And that's really like an important thing. In terms of products, we had a bit of a vacuum, I guess, like sort of some central like strong applications, products that people love and use. That's something that's been missing in the past, and I think we're seeing that now. And Gavin and Parity are really going at this from first principles, and that's really how it should be. It's not like, oh, can we get like a few more users like quickly and this and that and pump the price? No, it's really like trying to solve some real world issues that exist and that have not been solved otherwise. Proof of personhood is the obvious one now, right? Because proof of personhood is indeed like a massive gap, right? You have either like completely anonymous or pseudonymous accounts, right? Or you have like fully KYC'd, traditional, AML KYC'd accounts where you have to upload a passport and whatever. But there's so many use cases for which you need something like kind of in between, so to speak, right? Where you want to verify that an account is owned by an individual. This relatively strong Sybil resistance assurance, right? I mean, maybe Neil can speak to this later as well, because I think especially in the gaming space, this is actually a pretty big issue, right? That you have all kind of bots that are kind of playing on their own, and you don't know, are you playing against the bot or against the human, right? And now with like AI taking over like so many different aspects of life, you often don't know whether you're interacting with an AI or a human. There is some real like need for innovation, and I think Polkadot is on a very, very good track for delivering that. So that's kind of that part, and then the other part is Jam, right? Because we're really now slowly starting to see the actual development of Jam, right? We're past the theoretical stage, right, where this was just like an idea and like a concept, but it's being implemented. And Jam is this extremely in design, right? It's not becoming more specific, but becoming more general, right? So you can run all kind of like machine readable code on it. Once again, I would recommend like people go and listen to this interview with Gavin. Just came out a few days ago. It was on the main X account, the main X Polkadot account. It's linked there at the moment, where he also speaks about Jam and the journey around that, and like why he decided to build something like that, and what it really is, right? Sort of this next evolution of blockchain design. So I feel we're not at the end of an era, but we're like at the beginning of a new era, right? The new Jam era, which, yes, it's for some people it's hard to wrap their head around and really understand what this means. But I can just say, like, there is a certain like pioneering spirit here in the Jam community. Really like the idea to build something great, something, groundbreaking. Maybe similar to the early days of Ethereum, right, or the early days of Bitcoin. We don't know exactly what it is gonna be, but it's going in the right direction. And this whole idea of less trust and more truth is also something that resonates with me personally. And so I continue to be bullish on the Polkadot ecosystem as ever.
I'd just like to add on here what I also mentioned earlier, is that we did see some really successful parachains coming out of Polkadot. Yeah, like Peak Network, BitTensor, Moonbeam, Astar, so some really successful parachains. But the past, probably not enough of that success was spilling over into the value accrual for Polkadot. So Polkadot was basically, or is providing this amazing infrastructure at a super low cost, basically almost like zero cost to these parachains. So now with the hub launch, I think this, on one hand, you lower the barrier of entry. You get you can have smaller applications directly deploying on Polkadot, but also it ensures that Polkadot will basically accrue more of the value of the success of these platforms. So I think this is also one point that makes me very bullish. I've seen also one comment that Gavin and the Parity team made is, Polkadot does not focus so much on having the most transactions, these kind of things, because as Max mentioned, a lot of this in other chains is actually generated by bots, so AI. So the focus for Polkadot has always been, and will be in the future even more, is to stay the #1 chain for security, for reliability, for resilience, so that you can have those platforms like government services, like large enterprise solutions, like all these segments in real world where you can have basically a massive impact for millions of people, but you need a reliable tech stack at the back. So we talk a lot about other aspects of the blockchain space, like gambling and so on. Yeah, of course. Then, like, if you just want to gamble, then some of the chains, have been very popular in the past and have been going through the roof in terms of market cap because it's a short to mid-term hype. But I think what Polkadot has demonstrated is it delivers the technology. Polkadot 1.0 has been delivered within time and below cost, as they like to say in the real estate sector. So delivered in time and below cost. And now with 2.0, we see, as Leo said, basically testnet going live next week, and then in Q1 launching hub. So again, like within time and within cost, and with Jam, there will be a similar massive impact coming, and it just demonstrates that Polkadot delivers. It has the best technology out there, so that's what makes me very bullish on it overall. But also, I think market has been overall a bit more sluggish in the last few weeks. with the whole macro environment, and especially the crypto sector has seen a lot of correction. So also from the market perspective, if we look at where the Federal Reserve is heading, I think it's an interesting time to deploy capital.
Yeah, catch the opportunity. So Leo and Neil,
I can quickly add something before we go, but the guys have described this infrastructure. Obviously, I'm not gonna go deeper into this side of tech. It's more than clear that Polkadot has built a massive rocket ship, and is one of the top ones in the whole crypto ecosystem. But from a builder point of view, I think Polkadot and the whole community, what it offers to us, to entrepreneurs, to startups, and companies in general, is that we get to meet everyone here in this ecosystem. So if you want to do something here, you get to meet every single participant, from the top guy, Gavin. You can shake his hand and talk to him anywhere. If you chase him around the world, the guy is happy to hear you out. I did it myself recently in Argentina, to these guys, Max and Mario, and everyone is willing to either help and leverage their network, and just everyone is here to grow. So it's just, I think it's this unique opportunity of having, and I don't think I've seen anywhere else in the crypto world, where you have a massive tech stack, insane, all the devs, the foundation of work to build this massive rocket ship, and everyone is now pushing to develop an ecosystem that is welcoming people, and it's welcoming really, really good projects. So I invite every single builder that is watching this and take a look at the Polkadot ecosystem, the Polkadot infrastructure, and see what they can do with it, because it's amazing. And security-wise, it's just, I think it's the top one. And now there is a FOMO about security that just came out with set cache and everything. Don't look at that. Look at this. I think this is it. So yeah, that's my last input here. Thank you, guys.
Very informative information. Okay, Neil, last but not least.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have a lot to add. We are talking here with a few Polkadot giants already, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know we are growing. So with our growth, we're also helping Polkadot grow.
Maybe Neil, say a few
I
things about this idea of Sybil resistance in gaming, and where proof of personhood could be useful for you.
Yeah, so we are already doing a lot of anti-cheat, so we know exactly who's a real player, who's a bot, who's using programmatic play, for example. And I think what you mentioned is that these guys are generating on-chain events, etc. So in our platform, we already have this built in, so we already know exactly who's real, who's legit. But yeah, we want to bring that a step deeper, because yeah, it's just about gaming that we're talking to. We also see a huge market in, for example, in airdrop programs and DeFi products, etc., where we can effectivize the technology that we've built. Because yeah, it's basically, I can ask our LLM, tell me who cheated the last 2 weeks, and then I'll get a huge list of people who cheated. So if we can implement the technology also in other markets, I think that can be really helpful for Polkadot and the whole ecosystem to be a confident environment, a safe environment as well. I think that's something that that's really important, because there are a lot of ghost chains going on saying that they had 10 million transactions, and we dive in, it wasn't 10 million, it was just a few wallets doing everything, and then they can shout to the world, yeah, we're doing 10 million transactions. So I think this is really important also to keep it legit towards the rest of the world, that you actually have the users, that they're actually legit and not AI robots or anything like that. So
yeah, there will be it will be real people that are playing games, not just a wallet address.
Yeah, one of the biggest things why you want this, and especially if you look in gaming, you can have 100,000 AI bots playing your game, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of them, zero, will do an in-app purchase. So the whole issue with studios is they need real players that will actually buy something in game, which will give them revenue, making sure that the studio can survive. And the same will be with Polkadot. You need actual people to start buying stuff, so you get a whole economic loop within the ecosystem, and that keeps everyone alive. So yeah, that's something that we need to fight for in order to get there.
Yeah, let's fight together. Okay. Thank you everyone for sharing, and thank you for the audience to be here today. And I think we just touched a little bit about the potential of Polkadot. I think there are more to dive in. And for this broadcast, we'll have the highlight clip later, and we will also summarize it to the Chinese article to publish on our WeChat. And if the audience are interested, you can follow the next publishment in our WeChat. So I think let's call it an end for today. And thank you, everyone. And see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.